Okay, good morning, everyone. Today we will continue our lecture in fluid and particle mechanics. And before I start the lecture, I'll remind you to fill out the attendance form in CX. Please don't forget to take the attendance in CX. Okay, now let's continue our lecture. Okay, so before we goes into the part of the properties of the fluids, in this part of the slide, I would like to explain about the basic concept of forces and stress. Or in Indonesia, you can call it gaya and tegangan. Because these forces and stress is also later will be, we can find this in the fluid mechanics phenomenon. The first is what we call is tensile force and tensile stress, or in bahasa gaya tarik dan tegangan tarik. You can see the system consists of a rope which is stretched by the blocks of some solid materials. So the solid materials can give the tensile forces to the rope. From this system, we can define the value of tensile force will be equals to mass of the block. So mass of the blocks, sorry. Okay, so the mass of the block, the tensile force will equals to the mass of the blocks because in the system, the blocks gives the tensile force to the rope and the forces will be equals of the weight force of the block. Ya, jadi pada sistem ini gaya yang diberikan oleh blok ini adalah sebesar gaya berat terhadap si tali. Jadi gaya tariknya itu muncul dari gaya berat. So the tensile force comes from the weight force of the block. So the weight force will be equals mass of the blocks times gravitation. And the tensile stress, the general equation for stress equals force divided by area. So for the tensile stress, the stress is also the force divided by area. Jadi di sini stresnya atau tegangan tariknya itu akan sama dengan gaya dibagi dengan luas area. What kind of area? For tensile stress, the area will be the area of the rope perpendicular to the direction of the force. Jadi luas areanya itu adalah luas area dari tali, karena yang ditarik adalah talinya, tegak lurus terhadap arah gaya. So it will be the area perpendicular to the direction of the force. In this system, the area will be the surface area of the rope. So if we can assume the rope, the shape of the rope is cylinder, so the area will be a circle, right? And you can calculate the area of the circle using this following equation. Okay, the other types of forces and stresses is the compressed force and compressed stress, or gaya tekan dan tegangan tekan. In the systems, the example, you have a solid column. The shape is also cylinder with a certain diameters, and the solid column is being compressed by the block. So the block gives compression to the solid column. So from this system, we can conclude also the compressive force, it comes from the block. And since the block have a certain mass, the compressive force will also be equals to the weight force of the block. Jadi di sini gaya tekannya juga akan sama dengan gaya berat dari si balok. How about the compressive stress? The definition of stress is force divided by area. And in this system, the area will also be the area of the solid column, which is perpendicular to the direction of the force. Di sini, luas untuk menghitung tegangan tekan adalah sama dengan luas yang tegak lurus arah gaya. So the area that perpendicular to the direction of the force will also be the surface area of the column. Since the column is also in cylinder, then the surface area will also be in circle area. Jadi luas areanya adalah luas area lingkaran permukaan dari si kolom. Okay. So this is the definition of the compressive force and compressive stress. And compressive stress atau tegangan tekan is normally stated by the term pressure or tekanan. Jadi tegangan tekan itu sering juga disebut dengan tekanan. Gaya tekan, the compressive force divided by the compressive area atau luas area, it will be equals the pressure. Okay, the next types of forces and stresses is shear forces and shear stress, atau tegangan gesek, gaya gesek, dan tegangan gesek, atau tegangan geser dan tegangan gaya geser dan tegangan geser. So the system it's a bit different compared to the previous forces and stress. In this one, you have a pipe. So actually, this one is a cylindrical pipe with the hollow inside the pipe. And inside the pipe, you will have another blocks. The shape will also be cylinder, filling the pipe. Ya, jadi ini ada pipa, tengahnya bolong, kemudian di dalamnya ada silinder yang pejal, kemudian dia masuk ke dalam pipa. So the cylinder blocks will comes into the pipe. And the surface of the block, the yellow one, will have shear force to the inner surface of the pipe. Jadi permukaan dari si balok silinder ini, dia akan menggesek atau menggeser dari permukaan dalam pipa. So, for this system, the shear forces, gaya gesernya atau gaya geseknya, will comes from the solid yellow cylinder block inside the pipe, right? So the shear forces will also be equals to the weight force. The mass of the yellow part times the gravitational. Okay, how about the shear stress? Because we define the shear stress will equals F divided by A. For this system, the A, the area, is not the area that perpendicular to the direction of the force. Okay, but for this system, the area will be the just the area that have contact. I mean the yellow cylinder area that will have contact with the inner part of the pipe. Jadi di sini luasnya itu bukan luas yang tegak lurus dengan arah gaya. Ini kan arah gayanya ke bawah. The direction of the force is to the bottom part. So the area is not the area that perpendicular to the direction of the force, but it will be the surface, inner surface area of the pipe or the surface of the cylinder. Jadi luasnya itu adalah luas yang searah bahasa Inggrisnya apa ya? Parallel to the direction of the force. Is it correct? Do I use the correct term in English for the searah?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's right, sir.
Okay. So in this part, the area will be the surface area of the cylinder blocks. Ini adalah luas selimut dari silindernya. Luas selimut?
Sir, I have a question, sir.
Yes.
Since, is this just like a cross section, sir? So the cylinder is a circle, right? So you have to calculate the whole, all the whole sides of the cylinder. Is that right, sir?
Yes. So for this one, the area is the cross-section area. So it means if you have this type of rope, right? So the area is this one. This one also is the same. So the column is in the cylinder, the area is this one. You call it the cross-section area, right?
Yes, sir.
Luas penampang. But for this one, the area of the, to calculate the shear stress, or yeah, to calculate the shear stress is this one. The whole, what do you call it? Luas selimut, cylinder. What is it in English?
All right, sir.
Yeah, because the one that has contact with the pipe is this part, right? Not this part. So
Yes,
for
sir.
calculating the shear stress, you need to calculate the surface area of the yellow cylinder. That's why the calculation is a bit different. How to calculate the area, it will be this one. But for the previous one, the area is this one, right?
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. I understand.
Okay. Also for this lecture, for the fluid mechanics, you need to remember again the concept of dimension and the unit, the conversion of the dimension, and then some parameters. We will deal with quite amount of parameters. For example, forces, energy, power, area, volume, density, and so on. And each parameter or each dimension will have its own units. Units can be used their own derived units. For example, like force, the standard unit will be Newton, but you can convert these Newton units into primary units. For example, Newton becomes kilograms times meters divided by second square, and so on. Okay. Also, that's for this. For example, for the force units, I've mentioned the standard unit is Newton, but sometimes when you read different textbook or different handbook, you will also can find another types of unit. For example, like in CGS, the units will be in dyne. In American Engineering Unit, it will be the unit will be pound force, and so on. So in this lecture, sometimes you need to do unit conversion, ya. Harap diingat kembali beberapa unit yang sederhana bisa dihafal satuannya, satuan dari setiap parameter itu bisa bentuknya satuan langsung ya, atau satuan yang dikonversi menjadi satuan primer. Satuan primer ada satuan massa, satuan panjang, satuan waktu. Okay, for this part, do you have any question? Ada pertanyaan sebelum lanjut ke materi berikutnya?
No, sir.
Oke. Okay, now we go to the second part of the lecture. We will discuss about some dimension and also some properties of the fluids. And in some part of this lecture, maybe I will go quickly, and some part I will go in detail, depends on the concept of the properties. Okay. And maybe you already understand or already learned about these properties of fluids when you did your high school or maybe in TPB. So as the start, maybe you already know or that some properties of the system can be divided into two categories. First is what we call intensive properties. So the intensive properties is the properties of the system that doesn't depend on the how much or how big the system. Okay. Okay, for example, temperature. If you have small amount of the system, we'll have with a temperature of, for example, 20 degrees C. If the system has bigger dimension or bigger mass, the temperature is still the same, 20 degrees C. It's also the same with the density or pressure. But if you have system with bigger numbers or bigger size or bigger volume or bigger mass, the value of the properties is also bigger, then you call it extensive. Ya, jadi yang intensif itu besaran yang tidak bergantung pada ukuran dari sistem. Mau ukurannya sistemnya kecil atau besar, nilainya sama. Contohnya temperatur. Nah, kalau yang ekstensif itu adalah yang dia bergantung pada besarnya atau ukuran dari sistem. Massa sistemnya makin besar, massanya makin besar. Volume, sistemnya makin besar, volumenya juga makin besar. Oke. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, do you have any question?
No, sir.
Okay. So the common properties that we will use often in this fluid mechanics is first called density and also specific gravity. So density is the parameter of the system which quantified mass of the system divided by volume. So you will have the unit of the density. The symbol is rho. The unit of the density will be mass divided by volume. For example, kilograms per liter or kilograms per cubic meters. Okay, the inverse of density, we can call it the specific volume. So the unit from the specific volume will be volume per unit mass. Liters per kilograms or cubic meters per kilograms. But sometimes the density of some substances can also quantified by the terms specific gravity. So the specific gravity is how we can quantify the density by making the ratio between some density of some substances compared to the standard substances. Ya, jadi specific gravity itu adalah cara menyatakan densitas dengan cara dibandingkan dengan densitas suatu senyawa standar. So for the liquid, the standard substance will be water, and for the gas, the standard substance will be air. So for example, the specific gravity of the liquid will be the density of liquid divided by the density of the water. At 4 degrees C normally, because in 4 degrees C, the volume of water is the minimum one. How about gas? Specific gravity of gas is, to calculate the specific gravity of gas, just divided the density of the gas by density of air at the same temperature and pressure. Ya, jadi tinggal dibagi saja. Kalau yang liquid itu cairan, densitas suatu cairan dibagi densitas air. Kalau gas, densitas gas dibagi densitas udara. Okay. To make things more interesting or more complicated, I don't know, some petroleum company normally use the density of certain hydrocarbons by calculating API. This for the American Petroleum Institute. So they calculate the density of hydrocarbons first by calculating the specific gravity in certain condition, 60 degree Fahrenheit at 1 atm. And then after you get the value, you calculate the API using these numbers. Jadi jangan bingung kalau nanti menemukan ada satuan API. Jadi ini adalah cara menghitung densitas sebetulnya. So my first question, Do you still remember how much is the density of water and how much is the density of air?
Water is 1, isn't it, sir?
Yeah, if you use 1, what is the unit?
1 kilogram per meter cube.
For water, are you sure?
1 gram per centimeter cube.
Yeah, if you use 1, the unit will be gram per cubic centimeters or kilogram per liters. Or if you use standard unit, then it will be 1,000 kilogram per cubic meters. Okay? That's the density of water in normal condition, like room temperature and room pressure is around this much. How about the density of air? If the value is also 1, then the unit will be 1 kilogram per cubic meters. So the density of air in normal condition, I mean room temperature and pressure, it also 1 kilogram per meter, 1 kilogram per meter cubic meters. So like seperseribunya dari densitas air. So maybe you need to remember again this.
Of course, there is always.
Sir, I have a question, sir.
Yes.
This is in room temperature and 1 atm, sir?
Yeah, it's around this much.
Okay.
Kira-kira.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Okay. This table shows you the roughly then specific gravity. It means the density of certain substance compared to the standard. The standard will be water. You can see the specific density of water is 1. So the standard is water. And you need to check if you read the data from some tables, maybe from a handbook, you need to check in which condition the measurement takes place. So for this, the condition will be 20 degrees C and 1 atm, unless stated otherwise. So you can see some substance will have more than 1 specific gravity. Right? So it means the density is higher than water. And some substance is below 1. This one is above 1, it is below 1. So it means the density is lower. For the mercury, you can see the specific density is, specific gravity is very high. So like the density is around 13,600 kilogram per meter cubic meters for mercury. Okay. Okay. Density, these parameters is affected or influenced by the temperature and pressure. Ya, jadi densitas ini sangat dipengaruhi oleh temperatur dan tekanan. And later, especially when you study thermodynamics, you will learn about what we call equation of state, persamaan keadaan. So the equation of states correlates between pressure and temperature. And the easiest one, the ideal one, the simplest equation of state is what we call ideal gas equation. Ya, jadi persamaan gas ideal. Ini nanti kalian akan belajar persamaan keadaan. Ini menghubungkan densitas sebagai fungsi tekanan dan temperatur. Itu di kuliah termodinamika. Nah, persamaan keadaan yang paling gampang atau yang paling sederhana itu adalah persamaan gas ideal. So this is the equation of the ideal gas. I think you already remember. Pressure times volumes will be equals the number of moles times gas constant times temperature. And you still remember the numbers of moles will be mass of the substance divided by the relative molecular weight of that substance. So this one. And density is mass divided by volume. So you can calculate density as the function of pressure, temperature, as long as you know the molecular weight of the substance. Ya, jadi Anda bisa menghitung densitas sebagai fungsi tekanan dan temperatur selama Anda punya data berapa berat molekul relatifnya. Okay, to calculate in equation of state, you will have gas constant value, right? Maybe you remember the number is 8.314, but please be careful using this value. The unit will be joules over gram. Gram mole is equals moles, yes. Jadi gram mole itu sama dengan mole. Jangan bingung. Jadi ada mole, ada gram mole, ini sama. So, depending on the value of the other parameters, what is the value of the pressure, what is the unit, what is the unit of the pressure, what is the unit of temperature, then you need to use the value of R, gas constants carefully. Jadi, hati-hati menggunakan nilai R. Jangan langsung ditembak 8,314, tapi Anda harus tahu 8,314 itu satuannya adalah satuan Joule per mole Kelvin, atau ini sebetulnya adalah satuan standar. So if you are using the standard units of pressure and temperature and molecular weight is what? Gram per mole, right? So you need to convert it become kilogram per mole. Ya, karena satuan standar biasanya kan kalau berat molekul relatif itu adalah gram per mol, betul ya? Betul nggak? Masih ingat kimia dasar?
Sir, I'm getting confused. I'm getting confused, sir.
Which one? Jadi begini, I'll try to explain Indonesian first. Maybe you can understand. Kalau Anda menggunakan 8,314, Anda lihat ya ini satuannya adalah Joule per mol Kelvin. Gram mol dengan mol sama. Jadi kalau ada tulisan mol di sini dengan gram mol itu sebetulnya sama. Artinya di sini satuan yang digunakan adalah satuan standar. Satuan standar berarti kalau panjang meter, kalau massa kilogram, kalau waktu detik. So for this one, be careful when you calculate. Sometimes people make mistake in calculating molecular weight because normally for example, hydrogen. Hydrogen is the molecular weight is 2, right? Correct, right? Berapa sih berat molekul hidrogen? Kok saya lupa? Okay. The unit actually is gram per mole. Ya kan? Satuannya adalah 2 gram per mole. Nah, kalau Anda menggunakan di persamaan ini menggunakan satuan standar, if you want to use that the value of molecular weight in the standard units, SI units, then please remember that the unit of molecular weight should be kilogram per mole. Bisa dimengerti ya?
Oke, sir.
Sudah cukup jelas atau masih ada yang mau komen? Silakan.
So we have to convert that to kilogram per mole gitu, sir.
Yes. Because depending on the R value, since you are using, for example, if you are using the R value is 8.314, then all the unit that used in other parameters like temperature, you need to use Kelvin. The pressure, you need to use Pascal, for example, for the SI unit, right? And then for the molecular weight, then you need to use kilogram per mole. Karena biasanya molecular weight itu kan selalu digunakannya satuannya gram per mole, gram per mole. Nah, ini harus dirubah dulu menjadi kilogram per mole. Karena satuan standar untuk massa kan kilogram. Satuan standar untuk jumlah mol, mol. Oke? Jadi nanti satuan, the unit of the density will be kilogram per cubic meters.
Sir, what I know, Maya, because 8.314 is in joules, so if we're referring to energy, then we use the 8.314. If we're not referring to energy, then you use the 0.08314, sir.
Actually, it's depending on because if you are using 0.08, it means you are using the pressure in bar and the volume in liters, right? So itu tidak bergantung pada apa ya, energi atau bukan, karena nanti sebetulnya joule itu apa? Joule kan satuan energi ya. Joules you can convert into kilogram and then mass and then also in second, right? Betul nggak? Jadi ada
Yes, sir.
konversi satuan untuk membuat joules menjadi massa, panjang, dan waktu. And all will be in standard units, right? Standard parameters units. Betul nggak?
Yes, sir.
Atau masih bingung? Because
Still
you...
kind of confused, sir.
Sorry? Yes?
I'm still kind of confused.
Because
Like,
this one, right? This one also have calories. It's also the unit of energy, right? So joule and calories is this is also unit of energy, but it will have different conversion. That's why this one and this one the number is different. Yeah. Betul nggak?
so, sir, the mass in the periodic table, that's all in grams per mass ya? Benar nggak sih?
Yes.
Grams per, yeah, right?
Yes, ya, betul. Jadi kalau
That's all grams ya?
tabel periodik, MW-nya itu satuannya kan pasti gram per mol ya. Tulisan saya jelek banget ya. Ya, jadi kalau ini yang saya tekankan. Jadi kalau melihat data tabel periodik atau data berat molekul relatif, biasanya itu satuannya adalah bentuknya gram per mol. Padahal gram kan bukan satuan standar untuk massa. Correct? Gram is
Yes,
not
sir.
the standard unit of the mass. So you need to convert it first to kilogram per mole. Then you can use the unit of other parameters in standard unit as well. Standard unit means temperature in Kelvin, pressure in Pascal. And R, the standard unit will be this one, Joule per mole Kelvin. The value will be 8.314.
Okay, sir. Kind of understand lah.
Okay.
Thank you very much, sir.
Okay, hopefully the others can understand as well. This slide, you will have some exercise. Please do it by yourself because the solution is already given. Then if you have question, then you can ask me through WhatsApp or maybe in the next lecture, you can also ask me as well. Okay. The other parameters that also important in fluid mechanics is viscosity, or in bahasa sometimes we call it kekentalan. So this viscosity, this parameter actually measure the ability of the fluid to resist the shear stress. So if the fluid, so if we apply shear stress to certain types of the fluid, actually the fluid will experience continuous deformation. Jadi kalau kita memberikan gaya geser atau gaya gesek pada suatu fluida, ada tegangan gesernya. Nah, si fluida ini nanti akan memberikan tahanan terhadap si gaya tadi. Ya, jadi ada aksi, ada reaksi gitu ya. Nah, kalau tahanan yang diberikan oleh si fluida itu kuat, maka fluidanya tidak akan mengalir. Right? So if we apply shear stress to the fluids and the fluid will give a reaction to the shear stress, if the resistance from the fluids is big enough, then the fluid will not flow. But if the fluid cannot resist the shear stress, the fluid will have continuous deformation and it will flow. Ya. Jadi kalau tahanan yang diberikan oleh si fluida terhadap shear stress tadi tidak terlalu kuat, dia akan berubah bentuk, perubahan bentuknya itu akan continue, itulah yang disebut dengan mengalir. So the higher the resistance of the fluid, the higher the viscosity. It means the fluid is more difficult to flow. Ya, jadi kalau nilai viskositas itu semakin tinggi, artinya tahanan yang diberikan oleh si fluida akan semakin besar. Artinya fluidanya akan semakin sulit untuk mengalir.
Sir, I have another question, sir.
Okay.
The water viscosity over there, the 0.0091 voice thing, is that pure water, sir? Or is that like water if there is like impurities or anything?
I think it's for pure water. And the value is the rough value around 25 degrees C or around 20 degrees C.
So if water is impure, the viscosity will also affect, right, sir?
Yes, but depends on the impurities. So the effect of the viscosity will depends on the impurities. It means if the impurities have additional resistance to the fluid, then the viscosity of the water will increase.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Regarding the viscosity, gas and liquid will have different pattern. Because viscosity is also influenced by temperature. For the liquid, the viscosity actually comes from the friction between molecules, right? The ability of the fluid to resist the stress actually comes from the friction between molecules in the gas or the molecules in the liquid. So if you increase the temperature, actually the collision between the molecules will also increase. Ya, jadi kalau viskositas ini atau tahanan yang diberikan oleh fluida ini munculnya adalah karena adanya gesekan antar molekul di dalam gas atau molekul di dalam cairan, sehingga mereka bisa memberikan tahanan terhadap shear stress. Nah, kalau temperatur dinaikkan, if you increase the temperature, the interaction between the molecules will increase, the collision will increase, but the effect between the gas and the liquids is different. For the liquid, the increase of the temperature will be lowering the viscosity. But for the gas, the increase in temperature will increase the viscosity. Jadi untuk cairan, itu walaupun gesekan ketika temperatur dinaikkan, walaupun gesekan semakin meningkat, tabrakan antara molekul juga semakin meningkat, tapi dengan pemanasan, viskositasnya akan menjadi lebih turun atau rendah. Sementara kalau gas, viskositasnya justru naik. Oke. Okay, the concept of viscosity we can learn from this phenomena. So you have two parallel plates. So the top part and the bottom part, and then between the plates you will have fluids. And please imagine that the fluids inside or the fluids between the plates consists of layers of part as well. Ya, jadi di sini ada dua plat sejajar, di atas, di bawah, di tengahnya ada fluida, dan bayangkan bahwa di fluida pun itu terdiri atas beberapa lapisan. Okay, then what happened? The top part of the plates will move because of the force to the right direction. Jadi plat yang bagian atas itu terkena gaya F, bergerak ke arah kanan. Oke. Then after the top part of the plates move to the right direction, so the first layer of the liquid or the fluid will also move together with the plates, right? Karena plat yang paling atas bergerak ke kanan, maka dia akan menggeser lapisan fluida yang paling atas. Lapisan fluida yang paling atas akan ikut bergerak bersama platnya. Kira-kira gitu ya. The velocity of the the first layer of the liquid will be the same as the velocity of the top plate. Jadi kalau bagian atas plate-nya itu bergerak dengan kecepatan V, maka lapisan atas itu akan bergerak dengan kecepatan V juga. So V is the velocity of the top plate, and U is the velocity of the fluid layer. Ya, V itu kecepatan platnya, U adalah kecepatan dari tiap-tiap lapisan fluida. So at the top layer of the fluid, the velocity will be the same as the plates. Di lapisan atas, kecepatan fluidanya akan sama dengan kecepatan platnya. However, for the second and the third and the fourth and so on, the different layers of the fluids, the velocity is not the same anymore because the liquid will have resistance, right, to the force of the plate. Ya, jadi di lapisan berikutnya, kecepatan dari si fluida itu tidak akan sama dengan V lagi. U-nya akan semakin turun, makin ke bawah, karena ada tahanan yang diberikan oleh si fluida. At the bottom layer of the liquid, jadi di lapisan paling bawah, the velocity of the liquid will be equals 0. Because the bottom plates, it's also not moving. Bisa dipahami fenomenanya? Bisa dibayangkan ya? Jadi ini ada dua plat, yang bawah diem, yang atas bergerak ke kanan. Anda bayangkan fluida ini kayak kue lapis gitu ya, ada lapisan-lapisan. Nah, lapisan paling atas yang nempel plat, itu gerakannya akan sama cepat dengan plat paling atas. Lapisan kedua akan tertahan gerakannya. Lapisan ketiga akan semakin tertahan, ke bawah makin tertahan, sampai yang di bawah, lapisan terbawah yang nempel plat paling bawah itu tidak akan bergerak. So you will have continuous deformation of the fluids, and then the lower the position of the fluids, the velocity is also lower. Bisa dipahami?
Yes, sir.
Jadi di paling atas kecepatannya maksimum sama dengan V, paling bawah kecepatannya minimum sama dengan 0. And then my question, shear stress is force divided by A. So for the top part of the fluid, the highest layer of the fluid, the force will be equals to the force experienced by the top plates. Ya, jadi di lapisan paling atas, lapisan fluida paling atas, gayanya itu akan sama dengan gaya yang dialami oleh si plat atas. How about the area? What is the area to calculate the shear stress? How to calculate the area?
Of the particles in contact with the wall, sir?
Yeah, so the area will be area of the
Of the walls.
Yeah, walls or the plates, right? So if you have certain length of the plates, and then you have the width of the plates, then you calculate this one. This is area of plate. Okay, then come back to the figures. Okay, L is the thickness of the liquid. Jadi L itu adalah ketebalan dari cairan atau fluida. So the total length of the total thickness of the fluid, and then you know that the velocity will have different value, right? Depending on the position of the fluid. Right? So if you compare the velocity in y direction, jika Anda membandingkan kecepatan fluida pada posisi y itu adalah posisi terhadap ketebalan, so you will have different velocity value over different position value. Betul nggak? Bisa dipahami?
Yes, sir. It's the triangle thing, right?
Yes, the triangle with arrow thing. So it shows the velocity profile or velocity gradient. So the velocity profiles represents the value of the velocity based on the different position of the liquid. Position is in y direction. So we call it velocity profile, velocity u as a function of y. So how to calculate u as the function of y? Basically, you just take the ratio of the y divided by L and then times velocity, the maximum velocity. Ya, jadi untuk menentukan kecepatan sembarang pada posisi y itu adalah sama dengan rasio antara y dibagi L dikalikan v. Y itu apa? Y itu adalah posisi sembarang di sepanjang y ini. Bisa di tengah, bisa agak di bawah, bisa paling bawah, bisa paling ujung. Kalau paling bawah berarti y-nya 0. Correct? So it means u at y equals 0. Y equals 0, it means at the bottom part, the velocity will be 0. But if y equals L mean at the top part of the liquid, then the velocity will be equals v. The u will be equals v. Okay? So that's Ducalt's velocity profile. So the velocity of the layer of fluid between these two plates will vary from 0 at the bottom to v at the top. Okay, from the velocity profile, then you can convert it into velocity gradient. Oke, waktu kalkulus sudah pernah belajar ya, yang namanya gradient itu adalah perubahan suatu parameter terhadap perubahan parameter yang lain. In this context, the velocity gradient will be the change of the velocity by the change of the position. Perubahan U terhadap perubahan Y. If you know the function of U as the function of Y is Y over L times V, then du per dy is v divided by L. Dari rumus seperti itu ya.
Sir, I have a question, sir.
Yes.
For the slide before, sir, the 0 mark, it depends, for example, if both plates are moving, misalnya, sir, but the top layer has a higher velocity, does the u equals 0 is referred from the slower plate?
Oh, yeah. If both are moving, of course, the actual velocity at the actual velocity at the bottom of the layer will not be equal 0. but you can take the relative velocity because you take account the the bottom part as the baseline, then it can considered zero. Jadi ada dua pemahaman. Kalau dua pelatnya itu bergerak, tapi yang atas geraknya lebih cepat gitu ya. Nah, sebetulnya yang bawah karena bergerak pasti velocity-nya tidak sama dengan 0. Tapi kalau Anda menghitung relatif terhadap titik paling bawah, itu Anda bisa anggap 0. Nanti ini sebetulnya bisa Anda akan pelajari ini di kuliah peristiwa perpindahan. In the Landsworth phenomena. But for this one, yes?
So if you swap it, the zero will be the one on top, right, sir?
That's
true,
if you
right?
swap, then of course, yes.
Okay.
The profile refers the profile.
Okay, thank you very much, sir.
Okay, so this one is the velocity profile. The gradient velocity is du per dy. Okay, now the velocity profile represents how you take account the velocity based on the position, right? The same, now you're comparing the position, but based on time. So for example, at times equals 0, when the top part is not moving, the position of all layer will be the same, right? Betul nggak? Jadi saat T sama dengan 0, saat waktu sama dengan 0, plat atas itu belum bergerak, maka kalau Anda melihat suatu posisi di sembarang, suatu titik di sembarang posisi di fluida, if you take account different points at the arbitrary position in the fluids, then it will all falls into the same line, right? This one, right? Then, since the top part is moving to the right direction, and each point will have different velocity, then for this one, after certain times, maybe it will fall in this point. Ya, jadi saat T0, kalau titik paling atas tadinya di sini, saat T tertentu pindah ke sini. Titik di bawahnya tadinya sama-sama di sini, pindah di sini. Titik di bawah di sini, di sini. Yang titik yang paling bawah karena tidak bergerak ya tetap di situ. So based on time, actually the sudut itu apa ya? The angle between the initial condition to the after sometimes condition, it will have certain angle, right? And the same angles is formed. Bisa dipahami ya? Jadi saat T0, semuanya kan ada di garis ini. Kemudian saat T sudah tidak 0, T tertentu, misalnya 1 jam. Yang titik paling atas, karena kecepatannya paling tinggi, sudah sampai sini. Titik paling bawah, lebih rendah, baru sampai sini. Titik paling lebih di bawahnya, di sini. Sampai yang paling bawah, karena tidak punya kecepatan, dia tetap di titik tadi. Jadi, kalau ditarik suatu garis, dia akan membentuk sudut. So, if you take the fluid flow profile over time, then you can see the change of the angle d beta will equals to the tangen d beta will equals this one. Masih ingat ya, tangen itu adalah ini per ini. Tuh. Diingat-ingat lagi ya dulu matematikanya. So, tangen d beta will equals dA. dA is the change of the length. So, dA is from the initial position and then to the final position after certain time. Okay, dA over L. A is velocity times dt over L. And you, from the previous equation, from this one, then you can convert it du per dy. So, actually, the flow profile over times, comparing the flow profile over position is the same. So this is the velocity profile based on the position, du per dy. This one is the angle profile over time. And we can also learned that the velocity profile or rate of deformation is proportional to the velocity gradient. So this one is actually the same, right? This is the deformation, this is the velocity profile, and then this is the shear stress. Ini ada yang harus dikoreksi ya istilahnya. So sebentar. It's not linear. Okay, so the rate of deformation is proportional to the velocity gradient and also proportional to the shear stress. It's not always linear, but it's proportional. Ada pertanyaan dulu? Silahkan. Bisa dipahami nggak fenomena ini? Atau kasus dua plat yang bergerak ini? Kalau ada yang masih bingung, silahkan. Kalau ada yang mau ditanyakan, silahkan. Bisa dilanjutkan?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So, the shear stress is proportional to the rate of deformation or proportional to the velocity gradient. So, based on this correlation, we will have two different types of fluid. The first one is the fluid that will have rate of deformation is linearly proportional. So please add in this part of the slide, for the Newtonian fluids, the rate of deformation is linearly proportional to the shear stress. So tau is linear to the, this one is tau is shear stress, is linear to the rate of deformation. And the ratio between the shear stress and the rate of deformation is what you call mu. Mu is viscosity or dynamic viscosity or absolute viscosity. Ya, jadi untuk fluida yang sifatnya Newtonian itu adalah fluida yang perbandingan antara shear stress dengan du per dy-nya itu linear. Tadi kan dapat hubungan ya dari persamaan di sini, shear stress itu sebanding dengan laju deformasi atau sebanding dengan gradien kecepatan. Sebanding itu kan bisa berbanding lurus, bisa berbandingnya tidak lurus, tapi sebanding gitu ya. Sebanding itu maksudnya kalau makin besar shear stress-nya berarti makin besar laju deformasinya atau velocity gradientnya. Nah, tapi makin besarnya itu apakah linear atau berbanding lurus atau tidak linear, kan seperti itu. Nah, for the Newtonian fluids, the correlation is linear. It means you can see from the right figures, you have oil, and then water, and then air, minyak, air, dan udara. The figures correlates the shear stress and du per dy, rate of deformation of the velocity profile. You can see it's the figures is straight lines, start from 0. All is straight lines. So it shows that the correlation is linear, berbanding lurus. Makanya garisnya lurus. Okay, the difference. Yes.
I want to clarify further. So, like shear stress will always be the same, but what's changing through time is the velocity, the du dy, and the angle dv dt, right, sir? But that there will be a the constant, the mu there, right, sir?
Yeah. So
But both, yeah.
Shear stress will be constant, or the value of shear stress will be the same as long the force is constant. Ya, dari yang definisi yang awal tadi. Karena shear stress itu dipengaruhi oleh shear force. So as long as the shear force remains constant, the shear stress will be constant.
Oke.
Tapi kalau F-nya berubah, ya shear stress-nya berubah. Nah, untuk fluida Newtonian, perubahan shear stress terhadap perubahan kecepatan atau perubahan profil kecepatan itu sebanding linear, berbanding lurus. It means if you increase the shear stress 2 times, then the du per dy is also increased 2 times. If you increase 10 times, then du per dy also increase 10 times. It's linear, right?
Oh.
So the ratio is always the same. The ratio between tau and du per dy is always the same.
Oh, so this is just identifying the correlation between the rate of deformation and the shear stress, sir.
Yes, correct.
Alright,
Jadi
okay.
yang selalu sama
Thank you very much, sir.
perbandingannya. And the ratio is called viscosity. Then you can see, right? So all comes in straight line between oil, water, and air. And what is the difference? The difference is the angle of the line, right? Kecuraman dari garis. This one is, the slope is very high for the oil. The slope is very high. For the air, the slope is very low. It means if you give the same shear stress, for example, this one, you take straight line, consider is straight line, right? You take straight line, the same shear stress, the oil will have smaller rate of deformation compared to water, and then water will have smaller rate of deformation compared to air. Because it has, the oil has higher viscosity. Rasio shear stress terhadap du per dy kan mu ya. Jadi kalau garisnya itu makin curam, artinya mu-nya makin besar. Kalau mu-nya makin besar, artinya tahanan terhadap shear stress makin besar, fluidanya makin susah mengalir. Di sini, kalau Anda menarik titik dari sini lurus ke kanan, pada shear stress yang sama, du per dy minyak itu lebih kecil dari air. Du per dy air lebih kecil daripada udara. Ya, artinya udara lebih gampang ngalir dengan shear stress yang sama dibandingkan minyak. Or if you take the straight line from the bottom seperti ini, artinya apa? Untuk menghasilkan laju deformasi yang sama, to have same amount of laju rate of deformation, you need to apply higher shear stress for oil. You need to apply higher shear stress for fluids with higher viscosity. Ya, jadi untuk membuat fluida itu mengalir dengan laju deformasi yang sama, maka Anda membutuhkan shear stress yang lebih tinggi untuk fluida yang viskositasnya lebih tinggi. Okay, any question?
Understood, sir.
Okay. Okay, the opposite of Newtonian fluids, it's called non-Newtonian fluids. So in non-Newtonian fluids, the shear stress is not linearly proportional. So the figures is not straight line. This one is the Newtonian, so it starts from 0 and it have straight line. But for the others, is considered non-Newtonian. For example, first we see the Bingham plastic. For the Bingham plastics, the line is still straight line, but not start from 0. It means to make Bingham plastic flowing, to have rate of deformation, you need to apply certain amount of shear stress first until some point. Ya, jadi di sini shear stress-nya kan sudah naik ya, sudah ada shear stress tapi fluidanya belum mengalir karena masih 0 rate of deformation-nya. So after certain amount of shear stress, then the Bingham plastic still will be flowing, and the flow will be linear to the rate of deformation. Jadi mirip non-Newtonian, tapi mulainya tidak dengan shear stress 0. Jadi butuh shear stress minimum. Then, for other types, for example, like pseudoplastic, with certain amount of shear stress, the rate of deformation is slow, ya, karena kan perubahannya kecil ya, kalau garisnya itu tajam, perubahannya kecil. But after certain amount of shear stress, then the rate of deformation will be higher. Jadi awal-awal dengan shear stress yang kecil, perubahan laju deformasinya itu sedikit, tapi pada titik tertentu, laju deformasinya semakin besar. Or the inverse is the dilatant. The certain awal-awal, the small shear stress, the rate of deformation is high, but after you increase the shear stress, the rate of deformation becomes lower. Jadi tidak linear. We will discuss these non-Newtonian fluids later in the last part of our semester. And in non-Newtonian, the correlation between shear stress and rate of deformation, we still call it viscosity, but the viscosity is not constant. We just call it apparent viscosity, and the viscosity will be, this apparent viscosity will be a function of shear stress. Ya, jadi kalau di Newtonian itu mu-nya itu konstan, tetap, tapi kalau di sini mu-nya tidak tetap, tidak konstan, kemudian dinyatakan sebagai apparent viscosity, dan apparent viscosity ini nanti akan menjadi fungsi dari shear stress atau fungsi dari laju deformasi. Oke. Mu itu tadi sebutannya adalah viscosity, or dynamic viscosity, or absolute viscosity. Other types of viscosity is kinematic viscosity. So this kinematic viscosity calculate the value of viscosity compared to the density. Because at certain types of fluid, the density will be influenced by temperature and pressure, mostly pressure. So if you see this one, this is the viscosity of air, udara, at 20 degrees C at 1 atm compared to 4 atm. So you see the absolute viscosity, the mu, is still constant because the temperature is the same. But the kinematic viscosity will significantly lower at 4 atm. Why? Because at 4 atms, the density will increase, right? Because at higher pressure, the volume of the gas will reduce, and then the density will increase, and then the kinematic viscosity will reduce or will decrease. So the kinematic viscosity is usually used to calculate the viscosity in gas because effect of the temperature is more significant in gas compared to the liquid. Okay.
Sir?
Yep.
So in this equation, it's like comparing a certain type of, for example, gas. So you're comparing one type of gas with the standard of gas, sir?
Oh, no. This equation you mean?
Yes, sir. I'm still confused.
Okay, this equation is calculating the viscosity of just one types of fluids, normally gas, by comparing the value of that gas viscosity, absolute viscosity, divided by that gas density. So the same gas. For example, say air. Jadi ini untuk gas atau fluida yang sama.
What's the absolute viscosity, sir? The mu.
Absolute viscosity is this one. Jadi yang disebut dengan viskositas di awal tadi, itu sebetulnya adalah viskositas absolut atau viskositas dinamik. Dia dipengaruhi hanya oleh temperatur. Oke, nah untuk fluida, khususnya gas, viskositas itu juga bisa dihitung sebagai viskositas kinematik dengan memasukkan parameter densitas. So for gas, we also take account what we call kinematic viscosity, especially for gas, but actually for liquid, you can do the calculation as well. But for the gas, the effect of the pressure to the density is significant, right? So sometimes you do calculation of viscosity by calculating the kinematic viscosity. Later, you will use these parameters, the kinematic viscosity, when we deal with the gas calculation. Karena kalau mu itu viskositas absolut atau viskositas saja ya disebutnya, itu belum mempertimbangkan faktor tekanan dan nilainya konstan selama temperaturnya tidak berubah. Yang beda adalah kalau tekanannya dirubah, densitasnya berubah. Sehingga densitas ini sebetulnya akan secara tidak langsung mempengaruhi viskositas. Nah, ini dinyatakannya sebagai kinematic viscosity. Bisa paham ya? Atau ada yang perlu diperjelas lagi? Silahkan. So we will use this kinematic viscosity parameters later when we deal with the calculation of gas which will have higher compression. So if the gas experience compression, it means the pressure is increased to the significant amounts compared to the previous pressure, then the viscosity, normally we use kinematic viscosity instead of absolute viscosity in the calculation.
Sir, when is it significant to use this kinematic viscosity on like liquid, sir?
For liquid, normally it's the same because when you increase the pressure, the density of the liquid is not significantly changed, right? So the volume of the liquid still the same, and then the density is still the same, and the value of the kinematic viscosity at different pressure is roughly similar. So usually we don't use kinematic viscosity in liquid calculation.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Okay, any other question? Okay, now back to the viscosity absolute, the mu. I have mentioned that it will be the function of the temperature. So you can use certain equation to calculate the mu as the function of the temperature. This is just to show you some equation for gas and the liquid. You can find different types of equation in other handbook. Jadi ini hanya contoh ya. Jadi nanti kalau kalian buka buku, ada beberapa persamaan yang bisa digunakan untuk menghitung nilai mu sebagai fungsi temperatur. Contohnya persamaan di sini. This is the Sutherland equation. You need to have the constant value for A and B, for example. For the liquid, you also can use certain type of equation. Okay, besides using, we call it empirical equation, we can use tables. So for example, you need to know the value of certain types of liquid or certain types of gas. Then you can use the data itself. It looks like the left data. For example, so if you find the data of the viscosity, something like this, then you need to check first what is the condition of the to get the value of the viscosity. For example, this one you have the dynamic viscosity. Dynamic viscosity means absolute viscosity or just viscosity, this one, right? Ya, jadi kalau disebut viskositas saja itu merefer ke mu atau dinamik, viskositas dinamik atau viskositas absolut. So for this one, you can directly get the value of the mu. And please also pay attention of the unit. For example, this one at 180 m and 20 degrees C, unless otherwise stated. Then for the mercury, you can find the viscosity is the 0.0015 kilogram per meter second. Then for the water at 0, you can get the value. At 100 is lower, right? At 100 vapor is much lower again, etc. So you can get directly the value if you have the table. Then other ways to find the value of the viscosity, you can get also this graph. Jadi Anda bisa mendapatkan nilai viskositas itu dari grafik. Cara bacanya bagaimana? How to read this graph? First, you need to check what is the x and y axis, right? So this one is the temperature. This one is absolute viscosity. Then check the unit. The temperature will be in degrees C, and this one is in Newton second per square meters. Then you can see this one is liquid, and this one is gas. You see from the liquid, if you increase the temperature, the viscosity is lower, right? Decrease. Then for the gas, if you increase the temperature, the viscosity is higher. Then for example, you want to know the value of gasoline viscosity. This one is the gasoline at 40 degrees C. Then for the 40, you just take straight line up, and then you take straight line to the left. Ya, anggap saja itu lurus ya. Okay, then you can get the value of the viscosity is around 2 Newton second per square meters. 2 times 10 to the power of minus 4, because you need to check this one. Ya, jadi kalau baca data, perhatikan baik-baik. Misalnya di sini datanya langsung berupa angka, ya berarti Anda harus lihat kondisi pengambilan data tadi seperti apa. Kemudian satuan dari data yang Anda dapat itu apa. Oke, kalau seperti ini Anda membaca grafik, satu ya Anda harus pastikan dulu grafik ini menghubungkan apa dengan apa, satuan dari masing-masingnya apa, kemudian Anda tinggal tarik sesuai kebutuhan data yang Anda inginkan. Nanti kalau sudah dapat angka, Anda cek lagi satuan dari data itu apa. Oke. Other types to find other methods to find the viscosity is by using nomograph. So the nomograph is something like this. Then again, you need to check the data or the explanation of the graph. For this one, you can see this is the nomograph of gas. So this one is for the gas. At this one, you have temperature, degree C and Fahrenheit with certain value. And then you will have viscosity, this one, mu times 10 to power 7 poise. So how to get the certain value of viscosity of some gas? Then you will need to have this kind of table. This kind of table correlates for certain type of gas, where is the position in the middle grid. Ya, jadi grid yang tengah ini sebetulnya menunjukkan gas yang mau dicari viskositasnya gas apa. dengan cara meletakkan titik posisi XY dari gas di grid tadi. So you need to find the XY position of certain gas to the grid. Okay. So if you have the dot here, jadi ada titik merah di situ. Oke, ada pertanyaan dulu? Silakan.
No, sir. Just give an example, sir. I'm still kind of confused.
Okay, for example, let's see. If you want to find nitrogen, right? Nitrogen is 0.6 or around 11 X position and 20 Y position, ya. Jadi nitrogen itu 11, sekitar 11 atau 10,6 dan 20. Berarti Anda cari 11 tuh di sini ya, 20 di sini. Okay, so around this point, this one for nitrogen. Then, okay, I'll use the line that already given in the graph. So, for example, you want to check the value of the viscosity of nitrogen at, ini berapa derajat ya? 10, 20 ya. Di sini itu adalah sekitar 20 derajat. So, at 20 degrees C, what is the value of the viscosity of nitrogen? Then you just take straight line from this part to this line. Okay. Then you go straight until crossing the viscosity line. Ya. Jadi temperatur, viskositas tadi adalah fungsi temperatur ya. Diingat lagi. Kemudian Anda tentukan gasnya. Gasnya ini apa? Anda yang mau cari, yang mau Anda cari viskositasnya itu adalah gas apa? Berapa nilai XY-nya? Anda letakkan titik XY-nya di sini. X berapa, Y-nya berapa. Dapat. Ini nitrogen. Nah, kemudian di sini ada contoh garis, kira-kira pada temperatur 20, Anda tarik garis lurus sampai motong titik tadi, teruskan sampai motong garis viskositas. Then, in this part, you will have the viscosity value. Can you read the number here? Berapa di garis ini? Between 1,000 and 2,000? How much is that?
1,750, sir.
Okay, around 1,750. Okay, then you please remember that at the top you will have notes that the mu times 10 to the power of 7. So it means the value of the nitrogen, the value of the viscosity of nitrogen at 20 degrees C is 1,750 times 10 to the power of minus 7 poise. Ya, jadi maksudnya kalau mu-nya dikalikan 10 pangkat 7 poise, maka angkanya adalah 1.750. Berarti viskositas dari gas nitrogen pada 20 derajat tadi adalah 1.750 kali 10 pangkat minus 7. Gitu ya kira-kira.
Sir,
Yep.
question, sir. But the one on top of the viscosity thing, the mu times 10 to the 7, why isn't there a negative there, sir?
Iya, jadi maksudnya itu. Jadi untuk mengurangi atau biar angka-angka yang di sini, I'll explain in Indonesian, it's okay, right? So biar angka-angka yang di sini itu tidak terlalu penuh dengan angka, karena ini this is the viscosity of the gas, right? You remember that the value of viscosity of the gas is very, very small. So to reduce in writing very small value, for example, 10 to the power of minus 7, 10 to the power of, in every value here, you just write if you multiply the value of the mu by 10 to the power of the 7, the value will be this value. Kalau di sini ditulisnya 10 pangkat minus 7, artinya kalau Anda dapat 1750, berarti angka aslinya adalah justru dibalik, 1750 dikali 10 pangkat 7. Paham?
How does it work that way, sir? I'm confused.
Iya.
Kenapa ada negatifnya bisa dibalik-balik gitu, sir?
Could you repeat it again?
Justru ini apa ya? Ini akan banyak Anda temui sekarang ini deh. Ini kan tinggal baca ya. Oke. Ini tinggal baca betul kan? Karena di tiap garisnya sudah ada angkanya. Anda lihat yang gas itu kan nilainya 10 pangkat minus 5, 10 pangkat minus 4 kan? Betul nggak? Jadi yang di bawah ini maksudnya 2 kali 10 pangkat minus 5, 3 kali 10 pangkat 5, di sini adalah 10 pangkat minus 4, dan seterusnya makin ke atas makin besar. Betul ya? Jadi kalau yang ini memang tinggal dibaca, karena sudah angkanya menunjukkan angka yang sebenarnya. Nah, yang di sini, untuk menghindari, atau sebetulnya biar penulisannya tidak kali 10 pangkat minus, kali 10 pangkat minus, di sininya ditulisnya begitu. Di atas ini ditulis langsung, kalau nilai sebenarnya itu kan mu, satuannya poise. Dikalikan 10 pangkat 7, maka nilainya akan menjadi nilai yang ada di grafik ini. Jadi justru nilai di grafik ini jangan dikalikan lagi 10 pangkat 7. Makin gede lagi. Sekarang Anda bayangkan, ini gas. Apakah mungkin gas itu punya viskositas sampai 10 pangkat 7 poise? Kan nggak mungkin ya. Besar sekali. Jadi memang ini umum sih ditulis di data-data keteknikan bahwa nanti kalau nilai asli dikalikan suatu nilai, hasilnya adalah nilai di sini.
I understand, sir.
Ya. Jadi jangan dikalikan 10 pangkat 7. Makin gede lagi. Jadi caranya adalah angka yang Anda dapatkan, the value that you get from taking the straight line, you multiply by the inverse of 10 to the powers of 7, or 10 to the powers of minus 7. So around 1.75 times 10 to the power of minus 4 poas.
Thank you, sir. I understand.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Okay, let's continue. This is the surface tension. Surface tension is the tension that, ini istilah bahasa Indonesianya tegangan permukaan. Jadi tadi Anda sudah belajar ada tegangan geser, ada tegangan tarik, tegangan tekan. Ini sama-sama tegangan, ini tegangan permukaan. But in English, the terms become tension. Because if it prefers stress is force divided by area. But this one is not divided by area, but force divided by the lintasan. Itu apa ya bahasa Inggrisnya? Panjang lintasan apa bahasa Inggrisnya? So the force divided by the line that experienced by the fluids. For example, this one is the thin film line, and then you will have a wire, rigid wire frame around the thin film line, and then at one position you stretch the wire at this direction by applying certain force. Okay. As the result, the thin films will mempertahankan bentuknya. Apa itu bahasa Inggrisnya? Okay, Kevin, can you help me translate in English?
So the surface will try to contain its shape, and it will try not to break, right? So,
yeah, right. The thin films will keep the shape, so it will not to break, right? But if you keep exerting the force, eventually the thin film will break. Why the liquid or the thin film can keep the shape because it has surface tension. So surface tension is actually the force that melawan, the force that exerting in contrast to the force that applying to the film. Ya,
Sir,
jadi,
I have a question, sir.
yep.
The thin film, how thin is it, sir? Is it like one molecule sejajar gitu, sir? Or how thin is it,
I don't know the value of the the thickness, right? So as long as it's thin enough, it's like very thin, very. Saya juga nggak bisa menyebutkan berapa tebalnya karena it's just very small thickness for the liquid.
Oke, sir.
Karena kalau dia terlalu tebal, if the liquid is not thin, I mean it's not a film, then the surface tension is no longer available anymore. So it's like this one, right? So this one, and then you apply force here, and then this is the thin film. So when you exert the force, the thin films is remain the shape. The shape is remains it will not break, even though this length is higher, right? Because you stretch this wire, and then the surface tension that's given by the thin film will be F divided by the line or the line or the lintasan that's perpendicular to the forces. So not area, but line perpendicular to the forces. The line is this one and this one. So both line. So it means 2B, 2 times B. So this one plus this one. Bisa dipahami ya? So the surface tension is actually comes if the surface of the liquid have unbalanced force between its molecules. So for example, if you put liquid inside some glass, then inside the glass, the liquid will have balanced force except for the molecules of the liquid at the surface. Ya, karena di dalam itu sigma gayanya seimbang. Jadi ini liquidnya dalam kondisi diam. Di dalam sigma gayanya seimbang, tarik-menariknya seimbang, kecuali di molekul yang paling atas, karena ke bawah ada molekul air. To the bottom, there will be water molecules, but to the top, it's a gas molecule or air molecules. So the force balance is not equals. Jadi di sini si cairan, so the liquids can have a certain amount of surface tension. Okay, this is the value because the formula is F divided by the line. So the unit will also unit of force divided by unit of length. And how to calculate? Yeah, actually by using the formula F divided by line that perpendicular. So if you are using this kind of system, then the force will be F. F is mass times gravitational divided by total length of this part and this part. But for this one, for example, you have ring, then you put into certain liquid and you pull up the ring, and then the force will be upward force, and then the line that perpendicular will be the circumference of the circle.
Sir, for the circumference, will you also multiply it by 2, sir?
No. Enggak, kalau yang keliling enggak dikalikan 2. Ini 2 karena ada 2 sisi ya. Kalau ini kan memang gayanya ke atas, line yang perpendikular adalah yang ini. Kalau ini gayanya ke bawah, line yang perpendikular ada 2.
Okay, sir. But like if it's like a cylinder like that, sir, do we need to take account the bottom cylinder,
Oh, good job.
like the base of the cylinder, sir?
Oh, no, this is not the cylinder. So for example, first you have liquid inside certain wadah gitu ya. Ada cairan di dalam wadah. Then you have ring, hollow ring. Then you put the ring inside the liquid, and then you pull up the ring slowly, of course. Then the surface comes with the ring, right? So the line that perpendicular the force is only circumference of the ring.
Okay, sir, I understand, sir. Thank you very much.
Okay. Application of surface tension is the capillarity effect. Maybe you still remember what is capillar. Capillar is a pipe that have very small diameters, and then the capillarity effects is mainly affected by cohesion and adhesion. Do you still remember what is cohesion and adhesion? Cohesion is interaction between the particle molecules, ya. Jadi kohesi itu adalah interaksi antara partikel yang sejenis. Sementara while addition is the interaction between the different particles molecules. So for example, you put water and mercury inside glass, the container made from glass. Water will have higher addition compared to cohesion. Jadi untuk air, adesi dengan gelas itu akan lebih gede daripada kohesi antar molekul air. While for the mercury will have higher cohesion between the molecules of the mercury compared to the addition between molecules of the mercury with the glass. Untuk raksa, itu kohesi antar molekulnya jauh lebih besar daripada adesi dengan permukaan gelas. It means when you put the capillary tube into the water, glass capillary tube into the water, compared to the mercury, then you will have in the for the water will rise up. So the surface is higher compared to the water. The surface inside the capillary will higher compared to the water normal surface. But for the mercury, it will be lower. So it will have a slanted surface, which is called meniscus, the curved surface in the capillary tube. The meniscus will be like this for the water, and for the mercury will be like this. Ada yang cekung, ada yang cembung. Cekung itu concave, right? And then the cembung one is convex. Okay, we also will have the term contact angle. So if you put water drop into the glass surface, it will spread out like this. But if you put mercury to the surface of the glass, and it will form shape like this. So the contact angle is the angle between the surface to the, this is the contact angle. Wait a minute. So this is the contact angle. And for this one, this is the contact angle. So the higher, the contact angle that less than 90 degrees C indicates that the weighting of the surface is favorable. Artinya, kalau suatu cairan itu memiliki contact angle kurang dari 90 derajat terhadap suatu bahan, itu berarti cairan tadi bisa membasahi bahan tersebut. But it means if the contact angle is higher than 90, it means the wetting is unfavorable. Jadi cairan tidak akan membasahi si permukaan. So the contact angle will be the function of the liquid type, will depends on the liquid type and also depends on the surface type, because it will be affected by the cohesion and adhesion, which one is higher. Okay, we can see the application of the capillary and the contact angle. This is the example. If you put a capillary tube into the liquid, this the example is water, then the liquid will rise, right? So you can use the principle of contact angles and the capillary effect to calculate how much fluid can rise above the surface of the normal liquid. Jadi Anda bisa menghitung berapa hanya. Caranya bagaimana? How to calculate this one? So you can check from this one, the bagian yang diarsir biru. So for this one, the liquid will remains constant, right? So it means the liquid, the balance of the force is equals 0. Thus there is no additional force that experienced by the liquid. Sigma F-nya sama dengan 0. Nah, the balance of the force will comes from the weight force. Weight force is mass times G, right? So the mass will be density times volume. So mass will be density times volume. And volumes will be this one. Jadi volume ini adalah volume dari air yang mengisi bagian yang diarsir. P kali R kuadrat kali H. Oke, ini gayanya arahnya ke bawah. So the direction of the force is downwards. So if if the sigma F equals 0, there will be the upward force that equals to the downward force. Ya, jadi kalau sigma gayanya 0, kenapa sigma gayanya harus 0? Karena fluida di dalamnya diem. Nah, kalau ada gaya berat ke bawah, berarti harus ada gaya yang nilainya sama, yang nilainya ke atas. Betul nggak? Nah, gaya yang arahnya ke atas, the upward force will comes from the surface force. Surface force comes from the surface tension. However, surface tension, the direction is this one. Ya, jadi ini 3 dimensinya dibayangin ya. Jadi karena di sini permukaannya menempel karena permukaan air itu menempel di dinding-dinding pipa kapiler, because the surface of the top part of the liquid, the surface is in contact with the glass, then it will have surface tension, but the direction is in this direction. How to calculate surface tension? How to calculate surface force? First, you need to know the value of surface tension. And then you multiply the surface tension to the line perpendicular to the surface tension, which is the circumference of the liquid. Then, because the direction of the force is this position, the upward position will be the surface tension force times cos theta. What is theta? Theta is the contact angle between the liquid and the surface. Ya, jadi gaya yang arahnya ke atas itu adalah gaya yang ditimbulkan oleh permukaan. Gaya permukaan ini ditimbulkan oleh tegangan permukaan. Tapi arah tegangan permukaannya itu adalah sebetulnya ke samping-samping. Bukan samping banget ya, jadi dia agak menyerong. Dan lintasan yang dipengaruhi oleh gaya permukaan itu adalah keliling dari cairan. Nah, sehingga Anda perlu menormalkan arah gaya ke atas dengan dikalikan cos theta. Tetanya apa? Itu adalah contact angle. Sehingga from this equation you can calculate how much liquid will rise due to the capillary effect, by using this equation. But please remember, the capillary effect is only happen when the pipe is the capillary pipe. Capillary pipe is a pipe with the very, very small diameters. So if you put glass tube with the diameters of like 2 meters, 3 meters, then the capillary effect, you cannot see the capillary effect. You can see the capillary effect only if the diameter of the pipe is very, very small. Oke, itu salah satu aplikasi dari sifat surface tension. Ada pertanyaan? Cukup bisa dipahami? Oke.
Boleh minta tolong jabarin yang rho g pi r square h is equal yang itu yang ada angle-nya, sir, yang cos that one, sir.
Which one?
How do you get, like, how do you relate it to the sigma s, sir?
Okay, the one that you need to have the value first is sigma s. Sigma s is the surface tension of the liquid. Okay, the surface tension of the liquid, you have the value. Then to calculate F surface will be the surface tension times the line, right? The line is the circumference. The circumference is 2πr. Kelilingnya. Then the direction of the F surface based on the surface tension is this direction. So this one is the direction of F surface. But because the weight force is this direction, then you have to convert this F surface into this direction. Ya kan? Karena gaya bebannya kan arahnya ke bawah. Sementara gaya surface yang karena surface tension tuh arahnya nyerong ke atas gitu. Tidak tepat ke atas. Makanya gaya surface tadi Anda kalikan cos theta biar nilainya menjadi nilai gaya ke atas. Kan kalau ini ada F, kemudian ini adalah theta, maka ininya adalah F cos theta kan ya? Benar nggak sih? Betul nggak? Kayak nyerong ini adalah F, kemudian sudut yang dibentuk antara F tadi dengan garis lurus itu adalah theta, maka gaya yang arahnya lurus ke atas itu adalah F cos theta. F tadi adalah F karena surface tension, yaitu surface tension dikalikan keliling, kalikan cos theta, theta itu adalah contact angle antara cairan dengan dengan bahan pipa kapiler, itu adalah menjadi F cos theta. Nah, F cos theta tadi nilainya harus sama dengan gaya berat. Gaya berat ya dihitung dari persamaan yang W sama dengan M kali P. Nih, ini adalah gaya berat. Ini adalah gaya berat. Ini adalah F surface-nya.
The value is the same, right, sir?
The value is the same. That's why you can correlate these two equations to calculate H. Karena tadi kan yang mau dihitung adalah berapa nilai H kalau ada pipa kapiler dicelupin ke cairan hijau ini. As long as you know the value of the surface tension, the value of the contact angle between the liquid, the green liquid and the materials of the pipe, and you know the value of the pipe radius, this one, then you know the value of the density of the liquid, you know the gravitational acceleration, of course, then you can calculate how much the liquid will rise inside the capillary effect. Jadi gunanya untuk ngitung ketinggian H ini.
Oh, oke. Dikirain ya, sir, yang dikirainnya yang rho g pi r square h itu dijabarin jadi 2 pi r itu, sir.
Oh,
tapi,
no. It means the cross balance. F ke bawah akan sama dengan F ke atas.
Alright, okay. I get it, sir. I understand.
Okay.
Bentar ya, sir. I nyatet dulu ya, sir, for a while.
Okay. Take your time. Ada pertanyaan dari yang lain? Ini yang lain diem. Kevin mulu yang nanya. Is there any question from other student? Are you still awake?
Yes,
Are you still awake? Sorry?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Sudah terwakilkan pertanyaannya.
It's okay. You can ask a question between the session. Sudah selesai nyatet, Vin?
Bentar, sir, for a while, sir.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, I record this class, then I will upload the video in the Google Classroom. You can ask from the regular class as well, because I have already uploaded the Indonesian explanation version. Maybe you can combine both explanation.
Sir, the R constant over here is radius, right?
Right, radius, not the gas constant. This is radius.
Okay, okay.
Oh.
Okay. Udah, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Okay. Okay, if there is no more question, I will stop the class. Thank you for your participation. Don't forget to take attendance in CX. Then we will meet again on when? Tuesday, right? Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Bye-bye.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.